Sit in silence for 33 seconds. Not to escape the world, not to force a vision, not to beg the universe for proof, but to remember something ancient that has been buried beneath noise. This is not about doing more. It is about stopping long enough for what has always been speaking to finally be heard. Before this silence begins, notice how your mind is trained to move. It scans, evaluates, anticipates. One side of you is always researching, calculating, assembling a persona that can survive the expectations of others. It asks, how am I seen? What should I become? What must I fix next? This part of the mind is brilliant, efficient, and necessary, but it is never still. It lives in preparation mode, rehearsing a life that is always about to start. Now notice the other pull inside you, quieter, deeper, less interested in performance. This side does not rush. It is concerned with meaning rather than momentum, with truth rather than approval, with who you are when no one is watching. Most people don't ignore this part because they are careless. They ignore it because they are busy becoming what the world asks them to be. And this is where 33 enters. 33 is not just a number to be counted. It is a threshold, a symbolic hinge between effort and insight, between accumulation and understanding. In psychology, in philosophy, in myth, 33 often appears as a point of integration, when the mind has gathered enough experience to stop chasing and begin discerning. Not youth anymore, not decline, a crossing, a moment where the question quietly changes from how do I build a life to what life is actually mine. When you sit in silence for 33 seconds, you are not waiting for fireworks. You are signaling readiness. Readiness to step out of constant construction and into perception. Readiness to let the brain stop performing its endless tasks, categorizing, defending, comparing, and allow another kind of intelligence to surface. One that does not shout, one that does not argue, one that simply knows. At first, the silence will feel uncomfortable. The mind hates gaps. It will try to fill the space with thoughts, memories, unfinished conversations. Let it. This is not failure. This is the clearing process. Like dust settling after movement. You are not trying to control the mind. You are letting it exhaust itself. Somewhere around the middle of those 33 seconds, something subtle happens. The inner noise thins. The constant split between who you are and who you present begins to soften. For a brief moment, the left and right, analysis and intuition, ambition and authenticity stop pulling against each other. They hover, balanced, listening. This is why signs don't appear when you demand them. They appear when the internal conflict quiets enough to perceive them. The universe does not shout over chaos. It whispers into coherence, and the sign you receive may not look mystical. It may be a realization, a feeling, a memory resurfacing with new meaning, a sudden calm where anxiety once lived, or later, hours or days after, a conversation, a sentence, a coincidence that lands too precisely to be dismissed. Not because the universe changed, but because you finally stopped interrupting it. 33 seconds is not magic because of time. It is powerful because of permission. Permission to step out of expectation. Permission to stop performing youth forever. Permission to let midlife, whether you are there in years or only in spirit, begin its real work. Inner discovery, alignment, and purpose, stripped of applause, and stay with the silence. Do not rush the meaning. The sign does not come to you. It rises from you. After the 33 seconds end, resist the urge to evaluate the experience. Do not ask whether it worked. Do not measure it against expectations. The mind that rushes to judge is the same mind that misses the message. Silence does not deliver its meaning on demand. It unfolds it gradually, like a photograph developing in dim light. Understand this. A sign is not always an event. Often it is a reorientation, a subtle but undeniable shift in how you perceive what was already there. The universe rarely interrupts your life. It rearranges your attention. And attention, once redirected, changes everything. This is where the deeper intelligence of 33 reveals itself. 33 represents a completed circuit of effort. Enough learning, enough trial, enough adaptation. It is the point where the brain no longer needs to prove its usefulness through constant motion. Neuroscience tells us that when the mind enters brief stillness, different networks activate. Ones associated with integration rather than survival, meaning rather than threat. You stop scanning for danger and start sensing coherence. You don't think your way to insight, you allow it. Earlier in life, much of your energy belonged to division. One side of the mind researched relentlessly, building identity through achievement, strategy, and external validation. The other side quietly recorded what felt true, but was often ignored. Youth requires this imbalance. It is how you survive, compete, and establish yourself in the world. But imbalance, if prolonged, becomes exhaustion disguised as ambition. Midlife, whether measured in years or inner readiness, begins when that imbalance becomes intolerable, when the persona you built no longer fits the person you've become, when success without meaning starts to feel strangely hollow. This is not failure, this is evolution. The 33-second silence is a ritual of reconciliation. It allows the divided mind to meet at the center. Research softens into wisdom. Persona yields to presence. External expectation loosens its grip. And something older, steadier, and more honest steps forward. This is the self that does not need to perform its worth. And this is why the sign often arrives quietly. It may come as clarity about what no longer belongs in your life. A sudden loss of interest in paths you once chased obsessively. A gentle but firm knowing that something must end or begin. Sometimes the sign is discomfort, because truth often disrupts before it stabilizes. Sometimes it is peace, because alignment feels like relief rather than excitement. Do not mistake subtlety for insignificance. The most profound shifts rarely announce themselves loudly. They arrive as recognition, a sense of, I already knew this, but now I can no longer ignore it. If you repeat this practice, 33 seconds once a day, you will notice something else changing. Your relationship with time alters. You become less reactive, less desperate to force outcomes. Decisions feel cleaner. Your nervous system learns that stillness is safe. And as your inner world stabilizes, the outer world begins to respond differently. Not because you controlled it, but because you are no longer broadcasting confusion. This is the quiet law of alignment. When the inner conflict resolves, reality reflects coherence back to you. The universe does not reward effort alone. It responds to clarity. And clarity is born in silence, so return to it, not as a ritual of belief, but as a practice of honesty. Sit for 33 seconds, not to escape your life, but to enter it more fully. And when the sign appears, because it will, do not rush to explain it away. Let it do its work. Let it unsettle what must be released. Let it confirm what has been waiting patiently within you. This is not the end of the search. It is the moment you stop searching outward. The rest unfolds from here.